Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we have our cup race at Watkins Glen, the second road course race of the season. As you see, a quick show of the point standings currently as HARVICK has 3 wins right now after getting his third win a couple races back now, sitting P1 in the playoff standings. He's looking like to be the favorite right now in the playoffs as Eric Jones is the last car in over Eric Almirola, who's 23 points out. As now we come to our qualifying attempt, we made it to Session 2, which is the last round when it comes to the road course qualifying. So we were doing pretty good as we came out of the last corner to complete our first lap as we have Ryan Newman back behind me trailing, but we set a pretty decent lap. We set a 107.9 and I decided to bail on it there, and we will start P5 for the Glen.
Today, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series visits New York and Watkins Glen International for the running of the Go Bowling at the Glen. The Glen is NASCAR's second road course stop of the season. In 2015, this 2.5-mile 7-turn track underwent a full repave that made the racing surface much smoother and added a ton of grip. However, drivers still need to be careful out there, especially when entering the famed bus stop chicane, an area of the track notorious for taking out even the best drivers. Okay, the pins are set. It's time to go bowling at the Glen.
Alright, we are ready to get going here in Watkins Glen. Kevin Harvick will start on the pole, continuing his hot streak here in the summer months of the season. As Alex Bowman failed technical inspection, he is sent to the back, so unfortunate for him. He's probably going to have a rough day as we get ready to go green here in Watkins Glen. And the green flag is out. Kevin Harvick on the left-hand side, your pole winner, and Denny Hamlin on the outside front row as we go into turns 1. Now we are behind the 78 of Truex as we barely just get into the back of him on the exit of turn 1, but everything is all good as everyone makes it through turns 1 with no problems at all, thankfully, as we come through the S's for the first time. And Denny Hamlin has taken the lead very early on, and he is gone as we come through the S's with a very good exit and immediately look to the right-hand side of the 43 of Bubba Wallace to move our way up to P3. So a very solid start for us here at Watkins Glen early on as we approach the inner loop for the first time of this race, getting through there pretty solidly as we come into the carousel now, looking to the left-hand side of the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Obviously, that's not the best idea to try and pass on the outside here in the carousel, but if we have to try and do that, then we will as we exit coming down the back straightaway, though, coming into the last few corners of this course. Denny Hamlin already driving away from us, trying to put a big gap between himself, Kevin Harvick, and I as we come into the last corner, all over the back bumper of Harvick, getting into the back of him for just a moment as we exit the last corner now down the front straightaway to complete the first lap of this race as Denny Hamlin has a comfortable lead early on as we approach turn 1 for the second time. Harvick going very defensive, and I overshoot turns 1 and go a little bit wide, and that's going to allow the 43 of Bubba Wallace to close up on me, but thankfully we hold on for a brief moment. And I will say, one problem I was having with this course is I could not brake into turn 1 at the same time as the AI, and I tried doing that many times in this race, and it's just really hard to do. You'll understand later in this episode, but it is really hard to brake at the same time as AI in turn 1 as we now come through the inner loop behind Kevin Harvick as we have run him back down as Denny Hamlin continues to pull away now as me and Harvick battle once again through the carousel all over his back bumper as we exit the carousel down the back straightaway, trying to get to him and trying to make a pass on him, but we're just not close enough at the moment to be able to make a move to get around him as we come into the left-hander, and we got through there with no problems at all. Now on lap 3 of 4 in stage 1 with a huge chance to pass the 4 as we look to the left-hand side, coming down the long straightaway side by side with the 4, a lot of momentum, and we're going to easily clear Kevin Harvick in the 4 car to move up to P2 as we come through the inner loop now for the third time in this race as Denny Hamlin, he's gone. I mean, there's pretty much no chance that we're catching him in this stage. But as we exited the carousel, we pulled away even more from Kevin Harvick as we approached the final lap of stage 1. Now about midway through, we're 2.6 seconds behind Denny Hamlin. He's increased the gap even more, and I've pulled away even more from Kevin Harvick as we come through the carousel for the final time in stage 1. Hamlin setting his sights on a playoff point as we exit the corner down the straightaway for the final time in the stage. He continues to increase the gap now up to 2.5 seconds as we approach the last few corners, and he is just right now setting one heck of a pace. We are just pretty much even when I run a perfect lap, I was barely able to maintain the gap with him. As we come through the final turn now in stage 1 down the straightaway, Denny Hamlin is going to win stage 1, and we're going to get P2 in the stage.
That'll get the job done.
Certainly a solid effort in stage 1, but my goodness, we're going to need to figure something out if you want to be able to contend with the 11 car, because Denny Hamlin is setting an insane pace at the moment, and hopefully his pace kind of slows up a bit now, as we are not going to pit here now as we get ready to start stage 2 alongside the 11, and the green flag is back on. This is our best opportunity, starting on the inside line as we approach turns 1. We might be able to steal the lead from Hamlin here as we come into the corner. Bubba Wallace on my back bumper as we come into turns 1, and we are going to edge out in front of Denny Hamlin on the exit of turn 1 and clear him with no problems at all as we take the lead in stage 2. Now in Watkins Glen, trying to run away from Hamlin as quick as possible, because we know he has a fast car early on in this race. So now through the exit of the S's down the straightaway, approaching the inner loop. If we can nail this inner loop, we might be able to put a big gap between myself and Hamlin as we come in through the first few corners of the inner loop, now setting pretty solid pace through there as we come into the carousel. Hamlin is probably about 3-ish tenths behind me at the moment as we exit the carousel down the back straightaway, just trying to get away from him, but he did close the gap on me now as we come down the straightaway, going into the final few corners of this track as we go into the left-hander and get a little bit loose, and that's going to cause me to run wide as we approach the last corner now, and we get into the grass, and no, we go way wide, getting loose, and that's going to allow Denny Hamlin to come through as we now get on his left door, trying to side draft him down the straightaway to keep him from taking the lead from me as we do lead the lap here in stage 2, approaching turn 1 now, trying to break as late as the 11, and it's not going to work as we go wide again into turn 1, and you're going to see right there exactly, you cannot break as late as the AI in turn 1, or you'll just go way wide, straight through the corner basically, and that's going to allow Denny Hamlin to retake the lead here in Watkins Glen, unfortunately. And now as we exit the S's, Denny Hamlin pretty much just starts to drive away, unfortunately. Now as we come to lap 2, not much of a bigger gap he has put between himself and I, but he has grown the gap just a little bit as we come through the final few corners. This time to hit 2 laps to go, and it was just, I was hitting pretty much perfect laps just to maintain this gap that we have right now with him, because if I wasn't hitting these laps perfect, you would see exactly like this. He starts driving away as I did not have the best third lap of a stage. Now as we come into the final corner, it'll be the white flag at the line as Hamlin continues to drive away. Certainly we have more pace than we did last stage, as we are at least able to keep him in our sights as we hit the white flag now in stage 2 through the S's, coming on the exit of the S's as he just continues to set an insane pace, and I just could not really believe that he was doing it, as we only are 7 tenths behind him. So it's looking like maybe we might have a chance when it comes to this last stage, if it maybe his tires wear or something, which is very low chance of that happening in NASCAR Heat 3 as we come through the carousel for the final time in Watkins Glen in stage 2. Now as we exit the carousel, pretty much the same gap between myself and Hamlin, still 7 tenths down the straightaway, so pretty much looking like we're going to hang on to P2 at least in the stage, unless he maybe has a problem as we come into the left-hander for the final time out of it. Now Hamlin still hitting everything perfectly as we come into the last corner, hitting it pretty good ourselves as we come out of the exit of the right-hander, and Denny Hamlin will win stage 2, and once again we will get second in the stage. Certainly looking like we need to get a lot of luck if we're going to beat Denny Hamlin for this victory now, as he is just so fast I cannot keep up with him pretty much unless I'm nailing the corners, as we put 2 cans of fuel in the car and we're not going to take any tires. I decided we didn't need any, and no one else took tires, so we made the right call as we get ready to go green for the last stage in Watkins Glen.
Almost ready now.
And the green flag is back up. This time Kevin Harvick on our back bumper. We could take the lead from Hamlin again, as we did on the stage 2 restart, as we come into turns 1 now alongside the 11, and Kevin Harvick's going to hit me in the right rear, and the sideways we go into the grass, into the barrier now, touching the barrier briefly as we rejoin the track now, and that completely has ruined our chance at victory as Kevin Harvick hit me in the right rear on the exit of turn 1, and into the barrier we went. Now as we approach the right side of Kurt Busch, now we have to work our way back forwards, unfortunately, throughout this field with just 10 laps to go in the final stage. That was really unfortunate what happened with Harvick. He just kind of pushed into my right rear quarter panel, and I just could not hang on to the car now as we sit P7. So really it's not the end of the world as we got past 41 to get up to 7th, and hopefully we can work our way past these next handful of cars. As you can see, Denny Hamlin, he's already gone now as we approach the back bumper of Clint Boyer, looking to his right hand side as we come into the last corner, making a little bit of contact with him. Not the first time we made contact with him in the last handful of races. As we exit the corner down the front straightaway, we closed in on Truex through the S's and made a move to his right hand side, and we were able to get ahead of the 78 of Truex and clear him with ease. As we approach the inner loop, we were able to run down this next group of cars as well. As you see me closing in on them at a pretty fast pace. Now as we get really loose on the exit of the inner loop, there's no harm done, thankfully, as we come through the carousel approaching the back bumper of Keselowski. We did get past him now a lap later on lap 17 behind the 4 of Kevin Harvick and the 43 of Bubba Wallace. Obviously Harvick just got done putting us into the barrier. Now as we make a move to the left hand side of him on the carousel, a power move on the outside of Kevin Harvick. Now as we're going to clear him on the exit of the carousel. I was not expecting to be able to do that, but it was pretty impressive that we did. And as we came to the end of lap 17, approaching lap 18, we had a chance to get to the inside of Bubba Wallace now to try and retake P2. As we go into turn 1, I tried to brake just a little bit sooner than the 43 and still go wide as we make a little bit of contact on his door. But we do clear the 43 of Bubba Wallace, as now he has to battle off Kevin Harvick as Harvick tries to make the pass on him. As we come through the S's now, just about 8 laps to go in this race, and we came to lap 20, just 5 to go, and I built a huge gap between myself and Kevin Harvick, who's in 3rd place. But you see Denny Hamlin, he is nowhere to be seen. He is 6.8 seconds ahead. He has set an insane pace in this last stage. This is the fastest he's been all race now as we close the gap up a little bit through the S's. Now at 6.5 seconds as we approach the end of lap 20, just pretty much hoping at this point that we were going to get a caution, which usually we do end up getting a caution in stage 3, so I still had hope. And obviously you have right up until the checkered flag to get a caution in this game, because you can still get cautions in the white flag lap for some reason in this game, so I still had quite a bit of hope. But you see, within the last half of this lap, Hamlin opened up another 7/10 lead to make it over 7 seconds from himself to me, unfortunately, as we hit 4 to go and go way wide on the exit of turn 1 and getting into the wall for a brief moment as I completely screwed that up. And at this point it was just looking like we were not going to be able to maintain pace with the 11. Maybe the worn tires had something to do with it, like it did at Sonoma. Now as we come to 2 laps to go, still pulling away from Harvick in 3rd, but Hamlin, the leader, pulling away from myself, as now you see within the next couple laps he opened up another handful of seconds, up to over 9 seconds now between himself and I, as we now just pretty much beg for a caution before we get to the checkered flag coming down the back straightaway. And now as we come into the left-hander coming into the final right-hander to hit the white flag, Denny Hamlin, he's pretty much already at the white flag. He's just hoping that we don't get a caution, as I just beg for a caution at this point, but it does not look like we are going to get that, and he's continued to grow the gap to well over 10 seconds at this point as we come into turns 1 for potentially the final time in this race. Actually hitting turn 1 pretty well. That's one of the first times I've nailed it, as I've really just tried to brake too late and I continue to screw it up throughout this race. But we finally get through there pretty well on the last lap, coming through the S's for the final time. Down the straightaways, Hamlin just he drives away. He's trying to win this race now as he has a 10.3 second lead. He's just trying to hang on as we come through the inner loop for the final time. And this is the first time I've pretty much screwed it up all race, as we go a little bit wide, but we do keep it on track as we come into the carousel. Now 11 seconds between myself and Hamlin, but way ahead of Harvick, so we pretty much have nothing to worry about when it comes to that now as we exit the carousel for the final time. Now down the back straightaway, and it was unreal how fast the 11 car truly was in this race as we come through the last few corners, as Hamlin is easily going to hang on to get the victory here in Watkins Glen. As we come into the last corner, Hamlin's already passed the line and has won this race. As we exit the last corner under the bridge, as we come through past pit lane, and we are going to finish 2nd in Watkins Glen.
Incredible. Another top five.
Unfortunate that we could not keep up with the 11. I just, there was no way possible, unless maybe I could have put a setup in the car, but I didn't feel like I needed a setup when it came to the road course, and obviously I really didn't if I was able to comfortably get up to second. So Denny Hamlin gets the victory, adds an extra 7 playoff points because he won every stage in this race as last place. Corey LaJoie, they're 4 laps down. Unfortunate for him. And Eric Almirola with a terrible finish, and that's not good for him because he is the first car out of the playoffs right now. And there you see the point standings now. We sit P4 in the regular season point standings, so we're lining ourselves up pretty well to get a good bunch of playoff points once we hit the end of the regular season now, as we have just 4 races left till the playoffs.
You've been doing really well out there. That's good to see. Keep it up.
Thank you, Ray Evernham. He thinks we're doing well, and so do our fellow drivers. As Trevor Bain is happy, Eric Jones is happy, Allmendinger's happy, and so is Kurt Busch now at the bottom. So we're not making anyone too mad right now, which is good. We've been kind of keeping our distance from Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Chase Elliott, so we're doing a good job there trying to maintain having no rivals as we approach the playoffs. It's going to be very exciting. I'm ready for the playoffs to start now. As next episode, we will have Hailie Deegan's recap of how she did in Eldora, the Dirt Derby, as well as we will have the second and final Michigan race of the season for me in the Cup Series. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to comment, like, subscribe. That would all be very appreciated. And thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch one of my videos. I will see you guys in the next one. So thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.